Okay, Friday the 27th of October 2017, and I'm in the northwest corner of Essex at Audley End for Saffron Walden. I'm in the villages of Wendens Ambo, which apparently means in Latin both the Wendens, on the borders of Hertfordshire as well, northeast corner. So again, another local one, relatively. Absolutely cracking day forecast today. Perfect walking weather. This is Free Walk 116. So as I say, about 15 miles to do today, prior to us turning the clocks back tomorrow. So that's why I've chosen today to do this walk. A, because of the forecast weather, and B, because it'll probably be the last long one till April, or certainly the back end of March. Anyway, it's about 11:30. Got about 6 hours of walking to do at the speed I do it at. With recording, that's quite slow. So let's press on. St Mary the Virgin, Wendens Ambo, with the Hertfordshire spike on its tower, apparently. So again, reflecting how close we are to the Hertfordshire border, because this is Essex. Another shot of the church. The instructions are a little bit confusing here already, so need to concentrate on getting the right path at this point. There's a superior shot of the church. Now I believe I'm on the right track. As I say, the instructions are a little bit confusing here, because there's no footpath symbols. Anyway, we're on the grassy area referred to in the text, about to leave it and cross an unnamed stream in 90 metres down this lane, I hope. The out pond there on my left, again reflecting the use of water in these areas. And I am back on track because there's the ford referred to in the text, so it must get wet at some times of the year, and the higher railed footpath next to it. Even a stream at the moment. This is almost the end of October after heavy rain, so where has that water gone? Scandalous. I heard on the news last night, what was it, 70 million population we're going to have by 2029, something like that. And that's on the figures based on what we do know. God knows what the population really is. An example here of pargeting, P-A-R-G-E-T-T-I-N-G, a form of rendering common to Suffolk and Essex. You can Google that if you want to know more. Lovely little cottage, the cottage in Duck Street. Been extended to the rear. Green and Rookery Lane, and already you can hear the hum of the M11, which we're about to go under. I notice a lot of the houses around here are also clad in wood, which is interesting from a mortgage perspective. Unmortgageable, I think, unless there's concrete underneath, which is highly likely. An autumnal scene here prior to going under the M11. Okay, there's the M11 in the distance, just about audible. Classic Essex stroke Hertfordshire scenery here. The new corn's already been set. What is it, winter barley, no doubt. Yeah, and you do get the old pylons, unfortunately. Anyway, I'm stood on the Icknield Way, long distance walk running from Harlow to can't remember where it ends. Icknield runs through Herts and Essex anyway. Obviously Cambridge is involved. A little bit of confusion here again, following the text. it refers to turning right here after 250 metres, which I think I've done more than, and going right next to a wood under the HV pylon there. But I think the obvious direction is straight ahead with this hedge on your right and then doing a right. Let's see. Oh, first footpath marker I've seen today, and I'm hoping this is the right one. It's what I assume to be correct with the HV pylon over there, so let's press on. Looks like we're on the Wendens estate. Environmental strip there. Good to see. Views back towards the M11 and Wendens. What a cracking autumn day. Yeah, I can hear a buzzard somewhere. Definitely on the right path now, because the text refers to walking through some trees. And as you can hear, there's a number of jays around at the minute causing fuss. Probably gathering acorns ready for the winter. There you go. Quite an interesting vista from here. This is one of the higher parts of Essex, which, as you appreciate, is as low as sea level in places. So this north-western corner, yeah, north-western, north-east Tarts, it's quite lofty for the area, about 150 metres, I think I read earlier, referred to in places. A stitch left of that pigeon. Someone had breakfast this morning. After 400 metres, come out into more arable fields. First sighting today of the Icknield Way symbol. You'd easily miss this one as well. Not obvious. Very poorly waymarked. Now passing through the grounds of Severall's farm. Requesting that you don't disturb the wildlife. All good stuff. Well, it's a bit cloudier than I was expecting. Fingers crossed though. It's in place of a post box. It's either that or it's for poop. Say the property entrance is round here about 50 yards on the right. One of Essex's most attractive villages according to the author of this walk, Elmdon, but once again no water, absolutely bone dry. Very worrying. Interestingly, that's the third house I've seen sold in 100 metres. So these locals must know something that the purchasers don't. What's going on in this village? The early lunchtime stop, the Axe and Compasses. Decent looking pub. One thing I've noticed stood here is that this is a busy cut through. That might be why the houses are up for sale. Further, this is a Wickham Water, which is a tributary to the Cam. Well, it's not providing much water at the minute. Thatched cottage, reflecting the so-called dampness of this area. A fine example. St Mary the Virgin. Wonderful position. I'm not going in there, it's too early for lunch as well. Got my lunchtime spot marked up the other side of Chrishall, or Chrishall, can't remember which it is. There's a church over there I rather fancy getting to. Jet noise is probably Stansted nearby. signs of times gone by as the 3 mile reminder just comes up on my GPS. I'm stood on the railed footbridge that you're not supposed to take, and there is a drop of water in this river, Wickham water. Absolutely outrageous. Look at that, about 6 inches. Apparently further down near the church where I was a few minutes ago, you've got some Hertfordshire pudding stones and sarsen stones, which by all account date back 55 million years. Yeah, 55 million years. Couldn't see them myself, but they do exist apparently. That reference to Hertfordshire again. The branch off for the extended walk, for those that want to do that. It's opposite a house called Minchin's. Not for me though. Onward journey continues perilously now as we enter the national speed limit zone. Hidden in the bush there, as you can see just off the road. This is Stephen's Lane, I believe. Onward journey through trees. And that, I believe, is a sparrowhawk just flown off the telegraph wire. There it is. Oh, he's gone. Bloody hell. There a second ago. Anyway, he was warning his mate. Reddish in colour. Hang on, his back. There you go. Has he got the bars across his chest to distinguish? That could be a kestrel actually. Gone. Difficult to tell for me at the moment. The surrounding trees down here, just about passable though. Wonderful classic green lane this is, shrouded with mixed deciduous bushes. Beech I see there, or is it hornbeam? Possibly hazelnut. Jays in the hedgerow collecting nuts. Old man's beard. Hawthorn berries been pecked. Not many of them left now. And earlier I believe I saw my first redwing of the season. Certainly a nice chill in the air today. So once that sort of chill arrives, so do they. How the seasons whiz by, eh? Wasn't that long ago since I saw them departing, around about April time. Again, confusingly, next to Little Foster's here, the text says turn right, but the footpath says turn left. If the text is right, 50 metres down there should be a bridleway to the left. Let's have a look. The path is very poorly marked. But looking back from whence I've come, just hoping that I'm on the right path, because I've got a distance of 1 kilometre to kill now without any real clear indication that I'm on the right path. Be a bit happier when I know that I am, because a K is a lot of distance to go wrong. Okay, if I'm on track, the text refers to a reservoir behind trees. Now, if this was a reservoir when the text was written, and it doesn't seem to have been updated recently, then it's certainly overgrown. That's more a marsh now. Fantastic for the birds. Provides great habitat for them. As you could hear, pheasants in abundance, although it's not really their habitat. Anyway, fingers crossed this is what is meant in the text. Okay, I am on track, because there's the sign for Dud No End. Nice farm building there. Now I wonder what's in that box called the cosh. Curiosity killed the cat. I'm not going to open that, but that's interesting. Maybe a viewer could let me know. But there's some indication. Might be their delivery box. Yeah, that confirms we're in the right place. Another one of those roadside nature reserves. Wonder if these will continue after the EU have stopped subsidising them, which I assume they do. Hopefully, if we're going to continue with the Europeans living in this country under the same terms post-Brexit, hopefully the farmers and the agriculture, etc., will continue in the same way as well, getting the subsidies for footpath maintenance and so forth. Absolutely crucial, that. Of options at this juncture. Turn right along the public bridleway sign there. I know it's all concrete round this way for the shortcut, or for the main walk, Dudno End. Continue down here. That's Toppings Meadow, private. Our onward journeys down this path next to it. Wonderful autumn colours over there in the sun. Yeah, out of it, which is where I'm stood, as you can see by the shadow there. It's quite nippy, so it does actually make for perfect walking weather today. Well, it would do if the sun was on me a bit more. But there you go, can't complain. Glorious. Sort of day where it makes you glad to be alive. Especially if you're recovering from a hip operation. Wonderful old chapel conversion there with the thatch. Yeah, beautiful. Now interestingly, with this gap in the hedge, you've got a bench just parked up. Let's see who that's dedicated to. Well, I hope you can read that. It's to commemorate the Diamond Jubilee 2012. That's the view from it. Strange place to put it, but there you go. Not for me to question. School Lane, so no doubt the chapel and the building behind it were perhaps associated with education as well. Decent view from my lofty position of about 90 metres here. Very traditional rural view of Essex, Hertfordshire even. Not very far from the border now. That's Elmdon village in the distance there. Last few remnants of leaf miner riddled chestnut trees. A couple more days and when the cold weather arrives, the rest of those leaves will be on the floor. Along the edge of Park Wood on the map, and soon to hit my lunchtime stop, coming up 2 o'clock now. Oh dear, I just heard a cow. That doesn't bode well. Thought there might not be any on this walk. Further wonderful views of Essex. Soon be approaching one of the highest points of Essex, and thus East Anglia, depending on your definition of East Anglia. I think the author deems it to be Essex, Suffolk and Norfolk, whereas that's debatable. Traditionally I suppose that's correct. Apparently is the vicarage of the Holy Trinity Church, which is just behind it there. My lunchtime stop. It's interesting. That footpath there at this four-way junction just outside the church is closed, and I do believe that is the way you would come if you were doing the extension. It's not obvious why it's closed, but it is marked as being so. So I don't know if that's been put there by the farmer or who, but looking at it, it looks like a long-term thing because the path is well overgrown. Essex County Council, explain please. Or even Essex Ramblers if you're watching. As you can see with that barn on the top of the hillside opposite, that apparently marks out the highest point in Essex. And it is a bit higher than where I'm stood at the moment, as you can see. So here we have the Holy Trinity Church, Chrishall. What a wonderful church that is. Very solid looking. And what a wonderful position the vicarage has as well. See the old window bricked up there. Even the vicar had to pay tax, I suppose. Get a clearer shot of it now. Can't see any benches though, unfortunately. Not on the sunny side anyway. Well, there you go. The one bench is to the rear of the church, in the shade today, but probably with a good view when the sun's round this side in the early morning. So I'm going to go and sit in the storm porch, I think. Just very welcoming. Walnuts, local apples, alongside a donation box. Never encountered that before. Brilliant. Interesting facts up there. So, 2:15, lunch is served. 7 mile into the walk. And obviously 2 hours 45. So it's going to be hit and miss for the 6 o'clock train. So here we are inside. The flooring's recently been improved apparently, as you can see. Wonderful. Not much in the way of decoration and ornament, but quite a plain church. Lovely ceiling. Some of the pews have been removed at the back, soon to be replaced apparently. Let's have a look at this dignitary. Margaret de la Pole effigy. Northamptonshire. A little trusty dog at her feet. Interesting. Very nice of that lady to open the church up for me. Sitting in there in the storm porch having my lunch, and she turned up and let me in. It was locked up otherwise. Anyway, quite a plain church inside, but lovely location. 2:45 now, need to press on. 8 more miles to go. Amazing water pump. Yeah, dogs think so as well. Gun dogs apparently. According to the van, it's parked opposite. Very pleasant shot of Chrishall Church there, up on the mound. It's actually quite away from the village, which I've yet to enter. There's the recommended lunchtime stop, the Red Cow. Very pleasant with outside seating as well, as you can see. Interesting pub sign as well. It's about 3 hours into the walk, 2.5 if you're not filming like myself. Another one of these interesting pumps. That's the third one I've seen on this walk. This one indicates the manufacturer though. Again, Hertfordshire influence, Bishop Stortford. A small war memorial referred to in the text. God rest their souls as we approach Remembrance Sunday. This one actually erected to remember those who fell in the Great War. You can see we're now on the footpath that passes my front door, Icknield Way. Yeah, it looks like the footpath has been rerouted slightly since the text was written, because the metal kissing gate is no longer with us. RIP. Hopefully at this juncture the stile referred to in the text has also been removed. Quite a view over there in the distance, albeit spoilt by those wind farms, wind turbines. A job I think we should be giving young community offenders, community payback. As I've said in the past, we get so much fruit wasted, wild natural produce wasted. I think it should be collected. In a post-Brexit Britain, look forward to that happening. Very optimistic I am about the future, as you may have garnished. Nice little field side walk this. Fantastic day. Last long walk of the season. There you can see in the very distance the edge of Cambridge. Don't know if that's a science park, Cambridge North, but it's Cambridge. Wind's beginning to pick up now. Now walking along Dark Lane per the OS map, which is next to these woods. Cain's Walks, strangely named. Elmdon Church. Lovely looking village there. First stile of the day. The former pub, the Elmdon Dial, closed in 2013 by all accounts. Doesn't currently appear to be in use, occupied or anything else. Probably seeking planning permission. St Nicholas's Church up there behind the green here, with again another memorial and bus shelter, and Audley station there, 5 mile hence, near enough, which ties in with about what I've got to do now as well. 9 miles just gone down. Interesting bit of local history there. Presume the carrier refers to the cart. Could well be wrong though. Lovely cottage going with it. In fact, that was also a pub. Green King. Can't tell you when that one closed though. Interesting. 2 pubs closed within close proximity of each other. Sign of the times. Wonderful shot of St Nicholas's there. Beautiful. So having just walked past the old school, the old post office, we now follow this tarmac lane, public bridleway. Climbing now. What a wonderful vista. Even got a World War II bomber passing overhead in the distance there. Either that or one of those USAF large freight planes. You may be able to hear the engine now, very growly. Wonderful. Cambridge over there in the distance, just in that corner there. Yeah, there's another one coming. Hercules, aren't they? I think that's what they call them. Another view of St Nick's as I walk along Freewood, well, the road to Freewood Farm. An easy walking along this track to Freewood Farm. That's where I prefer to see young bullocks. The other side of a wire fence, or even iron grate. Busy there eating their hay. There's the big old boy at the back, the bull. There's a sign here saying beware of him. Don't want to mess with that one. Anyway, these are all happy enough. Don't know if you can see them over there. There's a herd of deer. Look like they don't row. Can't see the colouring. What sort of deer is that? Wonderful sight. Just happened to, there they go, scattered. Just happened to stop here. And there they were. Anyway, they're gone now. Deep into the wood. The house referred to in the text as being festooned with dovecots. Doesn't seem to be any occupancy at the minute though. Now on the fringes of a village called Littlebury Green in the district of Uttlesford, as identified by these bins. It really is worrying. There's what would have been another farm pond, bone dry, and probably has been for years judging by the vegetation now in it. I've noticed this in Essex before on my walks, probably 4 or 5 years ago. Incredible. There's hardly any water in the county, free flowing, and yet it's not a massively overpopulated county. So it must be feeding London and the, well, certainly Hertfordshire, which is massively overpopulated. Lovely afternoon still. 11 mile down now. The old riverbed that fed that pond. Bone dry. Incredible. So the water table must really be sucked up. Okay, unfortunately I can't get the best of this vista because the sun's right against us, as you can see. It's encroaching in the corner, but wonderful view from here. Around 80 metres at this point. So, you know, not significantly high, not South Downs high, but not bad for this corner of the world. Onward journey is left along the concrete track. In fact, just checking with a map, and we're about 125 metres here, which isn't bad for Essex. Shortcut that's mentioned in the text would have come past that wood and joined up with where I am now, or was a few minutes ago, with this concrete track, which now discontinues very shortly. Make that out, but interesting red bark there. It looks like it's been scratched away by something. What it is that gets up there and does that, unless it's a disease. The rest of the tree is covered in moss, but like I say, unless the bark has rotted and just fallen down. Never noticed that before. Yeah. Difficult to tell if the tree's dead now anyway. Could well be. Goodness, look at that. The M11 on a late Friday afternoon, about 4:30 PM. Who would want to be in that? Not me, thank you very much. Can't stand motorways. Some deep furrows in this field, look at those. My goodness. Some machinery involved there. Now aiming towards the mobile phone mast, which incidentally I noticed in an advert on Rightmove yesterday, brings in about £9 grand a year. Certainly down near Hitchin. Oh, as you can hear, just about to walk over the madness is the M11. Don't understand it, they're doing about 30 mile an hour in the southbound lanes. Pointless, stressful, doesn't interest me at all. Well, that's unusual. Actually found a footpath that's been marked up on the corner of this wood. Our onward journeys to follow that grass strip. As the hum of the M11 thankfully dies away. Message there from Sue Knight, the animal warden. As I come into, as I say, coming into Wendens Ambo. First time we've come across that today. The symbol for the Saffron Trail. Long distance walk between Saffron Walden and, once again I can't remember, but Google it. So at this juncture I'm going to take the quickest route to the station. It's just gone 5 o'clock, so I've got about 50 minutes for the, well, possibly 22 minutes if I get there quick enough for the train. My GPS has just decided to stop at 13.7 miles, so I know it's 14.5 in total though. Interestingly, that's the way we went earlier today, so not far to the station. I will get that 22 past. There's a green woodpecker up there, I believe. Might even be it is in fact, I got that wrong, it's a greater spotted. There we go, very nice walk, lots of variety, aided and abetted by a cracking day. Probably the last of the long walks for the season now, tomorrow being the day we turn the clocks back. But a little bit of confusion at times with the instructions. Don't know if that's my fault or the writer's, but it hasn't been checked for a while, so it might well need doing. Otherwise though, 5 hours worth of walking, hip's okay, which is good. Right one's not so good though, the natural one. Maybe that's on its way out as well. God forbid, hope not. Anyway, what a lovely autumn day that was. Till the next time.